For next week, we're going to read a chapter from an article by Val Plumwood. Plumwood is I think, very profound theorist about environmental matters and about feminism. A few biographical pieces of information that may be interesting to you. She was actually, for a time, the spouse of Richard Routledge, who is the one who wrote Is There a Need for a New Environmental Ethic in the 70s. Plumwood's well-known writings on environmental ethics are published in the 80s and 90s and on after that. Plumwood herself was bitten by a crocodile late in her career. She's Australian, and she was attacked by a crocodile and was bloodied up pretty badly, actually. And she later wrote an essay where she kind of tells the story and reflects on it. And so this event, she says, convinced her of how humans are actually in a certain kind of relation with nature, how we are deeply dependent on nature and vulnerable in relation to nature. And she found some theoretically interesting implications of that experience. And later in her life, she actually died from being bitten by a snake. So she was bitten by a crocodile, and then later was bitten by a snake and died. She clearly spent a lot of time in nature and close to non-human organisms in one form or another, and ended up at risk in this way. The chapter that we're reading from her book will cover a lot of the same material that was covered by Warren, but we'll cover it, I think, in a different way. We'll emphasize different features of it. And what you may find is that, what I found, for instance, is that Plumwood's way of arguing for ecological feminism is ultimately, I think, deeper and more convincing than Warren's way of arguing for it. Again, they cover the same kind of ground, but Plumwood gives, I think, a more detailed account of what the connections are between the domination of nature and the domination of women, traditionally speaking. So I look forward to seeing what you make of that reading. It's a challenging but very rewarding reading, and we'll see each other again next week.